This year's report puts more emphasis on environmental sustainability. Why is that, Thea?
You're correct. Environmental concerns, and in particular the debate around greenhouse gas emissions, has taken center stage for the global media, and demonstrated also through numerous conferences and media events and shows. It is very interesting, however, to note that the travel and tourism industry only is a contributor to between 4 and 5% of total greenhouse gas emissions, and this is a small percentage of overall industry's contribution. The environmental sustainability pillar that we've introduced is actually very important because it tries to demonstrate the correlation that exists between industry competitiveness and long-term environmental sustainability.
Switzerland, Austria and Germany have retained their places at the top of the rankings, Jennifer. Why was that?
Well, these three countries continue to demonstrate many strengths. They, for example, have very, very rich cultural and natural resources, and their governments are placing a strong focus on environmental sustainability, as Thea has mentioned, which is very important for ensuring that they protect their natural heritage going into the future. They also have excellent transport infrastructures as well as tourism infrastructures, making it very comfortable for tourists to stay in the country, to get around the country, as well as this very high quality human resources to work in the industry. And basically all of this comes together to make these three countries what are arguably the countries with the highest levels of travel and tourism competitiveness in the world.
Away from Europe, looking at Asia, what are the most notable findings there?
Well, we see that again as last year, both Singapore and Hong Kong are the two countries that are highest ranked in Asia. Why is this? Because they have very, very high quality transport infrastructures, among the best in the world. Again, very high quality human resources, very safe and secure environments, and also policy environments that are extremely, extremely conducive to basically developing the travel and tourism sector. We can also look at, for example, Thailand and Malaysia, two other countries that are very, very competitive compared to the rest of the region, with, again, very high quality natural resources and also strong price competitiveness, which is also very important. Although we do note that Malaysia's policy environment is more conducive to the development of the sector than Thailand's. I might just mention as well China and India, two countries of particular interest to many tourists that are a bit lower in the rankings than these other countries that I've mentioned. Why? Although both of them have excellent cultural and natural resources that naturally attract many tourists to the countries, they really do face a number of challenges, particularly in the policy arena and also with regards to upgrading infrastructure in these countries.
What about Latin America?
In Latin America, we see, and in fact Latin America and the Caribbean, we see that Barbados and Costa Rica are the most competitive economies. These are countries that have obviously quality natural resources, also very strong focus on developing the sector by the governments, which is not surprising given how important the sector is for them. And in Costa Rica also a focus on sustainability, which is very important. I might just also mention Brazil, a country which is a bit lower in the rankings than some people might expect. Why is this? Obviously Brazil with excellent cultural and natural resources and also a very strong focus on environmental sustainability, which is very important for the country, but still facing a number of challenges that really do need to be addressed, such as upgrading transport infrastructure in the country and also addressing safety and security concerns.
And can you give me some examples of some sub-Saharan African countries who are actually doing well in the rankings?
Well, if you look, it's true that most countries tend to be a bit lower in the rankings, but you can see Mauritius and South Africa, two countries that are within the top half of the rankings with a number of strengths, among which a strong focus on the travel and tourism industry, strong price competitiveness, excellent infrastructures, particularly by regional standards. And then if you look at other countries in the region, as I mentioned, they tend to be lower in the rankings, but we do note some specific areas of strength. For example, you'll see that Tanzania this year is #1 in the overall quality of natural resources. And in fact, if you look at other countries in sub-Saharan Africa, most of them actually figure within the top half of the rankings with regards to the quality of natural resources. And this is very important because it basically demonstrates that these countries really have the potential to be a real force in tourism going into the future if they can really get a focus and start to fix some of the issues that they have in other areas, such as upgrading infrastructure, addressing health and safety concerns and things of that nature.
And finally, Thea, if I can turn to you again, how do you see the report evolving and engaging the industry over the next few years?
Well, the report was built and conceived as a strategic tool to enable dialogue between all the stakeholders to explore innovative ways to develop the industry. The future of the report is going to be a continued analysis and reinforcement of both the index and very specific variables within the index. But most importantly, we're trying to focus towards the creation of public and private partnerships, creating what we're calling Travel and Tourism National Competitiveness Councils. And the interesting part of these councils is that they're actually going to be a platform for constructive dialogue from the private sector to the public sector. They are going to be objective in that they're going to use our report as a strategic tool to provide the data and the analysis of the industry, and finally to raise awareness for the link between national travel and tourism competitiveness and overall countries' competitiveness. So I think this is an objective that we have in mind.